Welcome to GreenWales, the channel which is all about finding amazing companies, projects, charities, etc., embedding the Future Generations Act into their business and their project. We're here today in Project Seagrass. Can you tell? We're in an unusual location today, and I can't wait to learn a little bit about it. I've had a little tour already, and this is where the seagrass seeds are processed. Thank you. And someone was telling me you can get up to, I want to say up to 1 million.
Yeah.
Up to 1 million seeds in here, which is just amazing. And what month does it?
So usually the seed picks happen July, August time. We've got a short window. So then from that point, they're coming back from where they're being picked from wild populations to this HQ just to be processed so that you get the seeds separated from all the other organic matter.
Amazing. And before we get into it, this is Leanne.
Hello.
Leanne, do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself and just, you know, a little bit like an overview over the project, please?
Yeah, sure. So
Thank you.
I'm Leanne. I'm the CEO of Project Seagrass. We are a UK-based marine conservation charity. We do have an international focus as well, so our remit is global. We were founded in 2013, essentially based on realization from the background team involved that seagrass at that point was a habitat that's really important across the globe, but wasn't really included in appropriate management plans or wasn't being considered, and the need for conservation was being lost, and the need for sustainable use of seagrass meadows. So everywhere you find seagrass around the whole world, there is some level of human dependence on it, and that's the same case in the UK. So we've come from that sort of backdrop of wanting to create sustainable systems and also do something about the loss of this habitat, which has been significant globally for a very long time.
And around the UK, what's the sort of picture for seagrass at the moment?
So the UK, best estimates we've got is that we've lost around 90% of our seagrass over the past 100 years. So, you know, it's a lot. There was widespread loss across the whole of Europe in the 1930s. It was kind of coincided with industrialization, you know, declines in water quality.
Got you.
But it was huge. And so since then, the data's sketchy for seagrass, which is a really challenging thing for us. And for anyone that's working on seagrass, it's very difficult to map and to understand where it is. But there was that widespread loss that then had obviously continued. We think we'd lost like the bulk of our seagrass in the last sort of 40 to 100 years around the UK. Obviously 90% is a large amount.
Yeah, most of it.
Is most of it, yeah. But the great thing is that it's still there in places, you know, and in Wales, there are some absolutely incredible seagrass meadows. So we work on restoration in the UK, conservation and restoration. And there's absolutely a need for that. That's why we've set up all the seed processing and seed collections and the on-ground work that we do. But there's still also a lot to be done in terms of bringing everybody on board with this. You know, it's an important habitat. People have forgotten that it was there or that it should be there. But it is there still in some places, and it is amazing. It's beautiful. It's full of life. And so we're working really hard to sort of share that with people and bring people along that, you know, that journey of awareness and understanding and just loving this amazing life-filled habitat, but also working to bring back that huge amount that's been lost as well.
I think you just hit a point really nicely there where I think the disconnect from humans to nature and humans to making things and old processes, we've had such a disconnect from skills and connection, etc., that actually we're finding all these different puzzle pieces now, all these different skilled pieces, all these different types of industries that we are trying to find a new, not so much a new value, but a renewed value to everything and a connection to going, oh, you've lost this because you've lost this bit of knowledge. Get that knowledge back. You then appreciate what this is.
Yeah.
I think that's across the board in lots of different ways. So it's interesting that this is just another different piece in the puzzle of how we want to live in a good way and in a healthy environment as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've nailed it. You know, seagrass is our expertise, but it is part of that bigger jigsaw puzzle of planetary recovery.
Yeah.
We need that. We need those connections. We need to remember those connections.
Mosaic was the word I was looking
Mosaic's
for. Yeah. Right, okay. And as we've got a set of questions, but if the conversation goes nice and calmly, as in like we hit it anyway, I won't even ask it,
Okay.
you know. So first question is, how does your work contribute to a more sustainable and prosperous Wales? And can you give one real example of how that thinking has influenced a decision you've made?
Okay, so I mean, Wales, we've got a lot of coastline. And, you know, we are a farming and maritime people fundamentally. And so recovery and reinvigoration of our coasts and our fisheries is a really positive thing. So in and of itself, you know, bringing back the habitats that sustain fisheries is a really positive thing for us to be able to be doing. Obviously, it's a long-term goal because you don't just bring something back. Restoration isn't a quick fix. This is a long-term investment now from us. But that in itself, you know, providing those and revitalizing those coastlines and those fisheries and all of the additional, I mean, the coastal protection that seagrass affords us is incredible. It holds together coastlines, it holds together the sediment, so it protects us from storms, which are, you know, becoming increasingly powerful and frequent. You've got all of that backdrop. But as well, there's also, you know, really interesting and valuable green jobs to be had here if we can get it done right. So Project Seagrass employs 35 people. 30 of those people are in Wales. Most of them are based here at our HQ in Bridgend.
Amazing.
And so being able to create those jobs where you've got people caring and spreading the knowledge and doing things on the ground is really important. And so as well as what we're bringing back and the broader benefits there would be to communities who might want to utilise seagrass, or, you know, it's even that the cultural well-being that you get from being and having that connection with nature. And seagrass is just such a great offering in that space because it's quite accessible. Lots of the meadows we work in are intertidal, and so you don't even have to get wet to go and explore a seagrass meadow all the time, you know. So it really is incredible. Some of the, in terms of those sort of cultural well-being impacts, some of the most powerful moments I've had working with local communities has been where we're trying to do some restoration, or, you know, we're exploring areas for restoration. We always have a very in-depth stakeholder engaged process where, you know, we're having a conversation about, is it the right place? Is it not the right place? You know, are there reasons why it wouldn't be here? Are there better places for us to do this work? But we've had people come to open workshops, and often it's the older generations, but sharing stories, like they remember things being there. One particular lady just sticks in my mind who remembers snorkeling in a seagrass meadow in North Wales, and she remembers seeing a seahorse, and it absolutely blew her mind as a child to see that. That seagrass meadow is no longer there, but she wanted to get involved and support the work we're doing. We do it with a lot of volunteers, but she wanted her grandchildren to have that experience. And, you know, that sort of cultural fulfillment and well-being and sense of well-being that you get from connecting with the environment and seeing something that, you know, you perceive as being just really cool is super powerful.
I think in the UK in general as well, we have a bit of a disconnect with biodiversity and nature. You think seahorses, you go Mediterranean, Maldives. You do not think it's here. And I think we think of that in lots of different ways, whether that's flora, fauna, invertebrates, mammals, just every part of what we do. And I think the big fight on our hands, we use Wales, is reconnecting, because we have some fantastic, amazingly beautiful landscapes and wilderness and coastline and seas, but we haven't looked after them. We've exploited them, is what we've done. Now, I live in the valleys in the Rhondda, and the coal industry was huge there, and you look at Port Talbot with the copper industries, there's been a lot of recovery. There has been a lot of recovery, but this recovery is really slow. I think there was a tree, I was looking at something where there's a tree, and it looks like it had 5 years of growth, but it's actually had 30 years of growth, because the ground is so poor. It's going to take 2 generations for the leaf matter to fall down, for the soil health to come back. So these things are long-term thinking, and it's a long-term collaboration with partners to be able to make all these things happen, which it feels like that's exactly the same with Project Seagrass. If you want to connect, make new meadows, I'm guessing, and then connect all these meadows together, it's not So you say it's not overnight.
It's not overnight, and it is not a one organisation task either. I mean, the seagrass alone, we need to be working with people and other organisations and community groups to be able to do the work we need to do on the ground to have an impact and be able to scale that. But you're right as well, it's not by any means disconnected from what's going on the land as well. Like seagrass it's in that coastal fringe, it's impacted by land-based threats as well as ocean-based threats. So it really is at that interface. But for bigger picture recovery of our whole environment, land to sea, we need those collaborations across land to sea all the way. And there are some great people doing amazing work and really pushing for this recovery now.
Great. The next question I'm not going to ask is, what do you do? We think we've covered that. No, don't apologise. It's exactly it. And we've sort of touched on this, but I'm going to ask it and maybe put something out there. So what challenges have you faced, and how do those challenges affect the next generation coming through? You say about like pollution incidences and stuff like that. So I'm guessing things like water companies, when they do sewage discharges, that probably has quite an impact, which is managed on land, but then it completely affects the coast.
Absolutely. And water quality is by far the biggest challenge for seagrass and marine coastal ecosystems as a whole, not just seagrass. Water quality is the biggest challenge that we've got. You know, all that heavy industrialization, the mines, and all of that, you know, 1930s die off, and since then resulted in major declines in water quality, toxicity, and a lot of death of coastal environments and riverine environments. But, you know, some great things happened since then, and we've had huge improvements in water quality. And so that's why there are some areas now where we can think about putting back what's been lost, because that's been, the barrier has been that water quality. But still now, you know, we're looking at, we've got a National Seagrass Action Plan for Wales, which is a brilliant Welsh initiative. It's unique. It's now being looked at as a blueprint by other countries around the globe.
See, Wales is a leader. I love this. I'm just going to interrupt you really quickly, because Wales is such a world leader in so many different ways, and we do not pat ourselves on the back. And here's another bloody good example of how we are cutting from the front. Carry on. Sorry.
And we can do something. And within that plan, though, there's lots of consideration of active and passive restoration, and passive restoration is removal of threats. And that's what we need to hit first. We need to know where seagrass is, we need to remove those threats, and water quality is the biggest one, because there are areas that, you know, might be ideal for seagrass or another marine habitat, but there's no way that that's going to happen, or there's no way we would be investing our resources in that until the water is clean enough for it to have a chance to grow and then ultimately thrive.
Oh, that's so interesting, because that might be a discharge unit nearby, or the way that the sewage treatment works is working nearby, I'm guessing. And the way that they affect that area.
And it's all the, you know, it's not, I mean, water companies have got a lot.
We say, sorry, I'm focusing on water companies here, but
but no, it's fair. And I agree completely. And a lot more needs to be done. They need to be accountable and sorting out the very broken systems that we're now working with. But there's also, you know, those other sources of runoff, and, you know, there are some great farmers doing amazing practice on land, and it's that riparian revegetation and protection of our rivers that feed into the coast. That whole package needs to be pulled together, but there are some great people doing great work.
And as you say, you know, when the deposit return scheme starts to unfold in Wales, that will stop the litter and the rubbish coming in, and then that doesn't go. It'll come. It'll come. We have positivity on the channel. It will come. Kicking and screaming is coming, and fingers crossed it'll only add more materials, because again, we talk about recycling, and it's great to recycle, but actually it's better just not to have waste in the first place. And having things that are biodegradable and packaging, we should be phasing out all plastic packaging and redesigning them into mushroom packaging or whatever we're amazingly making up. I know Carrymore are working with a company down in London to make to replace cellophane on like sandwich containers and stuff. I forget what they're called now. Maybe I'll find it and I'll show you at home. But it's really interesting how we're starting to do that. I'm seeing Carrymore in a couple of weeks. They're going to take me out on a boat. So there was supposed to be a boat back there. I'm like, it's fine. I'll see a boat. It's our maintenance done.
She's gone. Yeah.
She's gone. What's her name?
Gwen. Gwynhydw.
I love it. I love boat names. Me and my other half sometimes go to harbours just to see all the boat names. It's my favourite thing. Just a question about seagrass as well, just to learn a little bit more. So it doesn't clean the water, but it does capture the carbon.
Well, it can clean the water, so it can to a point. You know, there's a tipping point beyond which it's too much for seagrass and it can't help. But it does. It cycles nutrients, so nitrogen. It's really good. It helps in the nitrogen cycle, and it also can remove pathogens from the water column as well. There's some really interesting research on that as well. Again, to a point beyond which the seagrass is lost. And it does trap and store carbon. The challenge we've got at the moment with carbon is the data isn't there. It isn't strong enough. So we haven't got good values for how it's doing that and the impact it's having in the UK or anywhere else, really.
Yes.
And it's a dangerous route, I think, to go down, just focusing on the carbon value. There is one.
Yes, of course it is.
We don't know what it is. It's an added bonus. But there's this whole suite of other ecosystem services that seagrass does provide that are irrefutable. And I think probably the key one there is the biodiversity support, which is huge. You can't argue with it. It brings back biodiversity to our seas. It supports huge numbers of fish and invertebrates. It provides a nursery ground for some of our biggest offshore fisheries. So it is an absolutely critical habitat for those reasons. And outside of, the obvious economic benefits of that, like, what if we just put biodiversity back? Like, what if that was our focus? We'd be able to cope so much better with all these other threats, with the changing climate. Like, things would happen naturally. And so that is always going to be the superpower of seagrass, in my eyes.
Would you consider seagrass a keystone?
Yes, it is a keystone habitat. Yeah,
it's
an ecological engineer. So, you put seagrass somewhere and it will attract other species. It will alter the environment slightly. It holds the sediment together. It creates an amazing and life-filled niche.
Yeah, amazing. There we go. Love it. I love it. Sorry, anything keystone. I'm obsessed with beavers. I love beavers. I think what they do, if there was a beaver dam or like a conservation beaver job by my house, I'd be volunteering every day.
There's a whole cage of them in the Forest of Dean somewhere, isn't there, getting ready to be released? I did a rock cage, a big enclosure.
Controlled area.
It's not my area,
amazing.
but I ran past it recently.
Did you?
And my sister was telling me about it. It's very exciting. But all those things together, like us getting ready to do those things and introduce these things back that should be there and are there in a normal functioning.
It's like bison in America. They nearly got completely wiped out. All these things do an amazing service, and they all work together to make the world function like it does. Yeah. And we're learning the hard way that is what it is.
The frustrating thing is that we know.
I know.
We know, so we just need to do. And
I think that's what's happening now. And I think it's the masses you need, and this is why GreenWales exists, is to bring the Welsh masses along for it, to expose the projects that exist in Wales, because a lot of people just always look out for inspiration. They look away from the country, be like, we can't be doing anything that great in Wales. Oh my goodness. But all I've done time and time again is gone, look at all these amazing things. We're actually, support this amazing charity. Look at this awesome project. Buy from this company, because all these different things. I was talking to housing associations and then talking to Wool Installation Wales, who do a zero plastic installation made from sheep's wool, 400% more value to the farmer. Yeah, it's naturally fire retardant, takes pollutants out of the air. It was just like, why is this not happening? So that's what I'm trying to do here is bring all these different passion projects that everyone has together, because everyone believes in what they're doing, because we all have the same goal. We want Wales to do well. We want to see Wales do well, and sometimes globally. We want the globe to do well. We want the world to be saved and inspire everybody else. And we as Wales, we punch so far above our weight. And I think we just need to believe that as well.
Yeah, we do. And we've got such a great opportunity to demonstrate that things can happen on a country scale. So the National Seagrass Action Plan is a super powerful thing. I mean, I've already said, other countries are looking at it as a blueprint of how you can do things. But the reason that came about is because we're also a very collaborative nation as well.
That brings us to the next question. Carry on. No, keep going.
So
I'm excited.
very early days of Project Seagrass, we were also trying to pull together just a network of all the people who were working or have an interest in seagrass around Wales. And this has grown into what is currently Seagrass Network Cymru.
Okay.
And so this is a network of all of those people who have some interest or are working in the seagrass space across Wales. So it's NGOs, Welsh Government, NRW, universities, other stakeholders. And all of those people came together to work on the development of this plan, because it's not, it needs all of those people at the table, and there's a lot of work to do for the improvements that we need. But in Wales, we got that. People want to work together and people want to achieve change, and it's super refreshing, and it feels hopeful that we have got that and we can do things with these various networks. You know, there's a salt marsh network now as well that's also kind of mirrored the seagrass network. Amazing. And all of these things interconnect, and so there's lots of great people doing incredible work all around Wales, and it is that collaborative nature and people working together genuinely for something better and bigger than themselves. So it makes me feel super optimistic.
Yeah, and I think Wales is a very collaborative nation, because of community, because you've always had to sort of look after one another to survive. And there was a stat that I think it's 95 or 98% of the Welsh economy is SME, 80% of it is micro, 3 to 5 employer, 70% is a 0 employer business of our entire economy, which says that we have to work together in order for any of us to have any money or to succeed in any way, shape or form. And when I tell people that, they're always like, whoa, in workshops, they're like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah. So if normally if they're talking to people who are starting up a business, I'm like, if you actually want to succeed, you've got to work with this person. But actually they'll save you 20% of your workload because they're going to be doing a part of that service. And when you talk about bigger companies like universities, we talk about housing associates, bigger, they've all got to work together in order for them all to work properly. You can't just be on your own little hill being like, I'm the king of the castle. It does not work like that. It only works. And partnerships are great, but collaboration is key. The question was, and I think you've answered it now, where do you see opportunities for collaboration across Wales? But
everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere the opportunities exist.
Yeah, and that's it. And especially for this Project Seagrass, so how many projects do you have in Wales? Because you got one in Anglesey?
Yeah,
that's what I heard about.
So at the moment, the projects we've got on ground in Wales, the restoration projects, we have got a big one across North Wales. And the moment we're focusing on Anglesey for some restoration work that's going really well. So super excited about that. But we're also continually exploring South Wales coastline as well. Nice. So we have got an ongoing project. We're really at the moment trialing methods to see what works where, because we know we can restore it. And we know, like, Wales again is a brilliant example and is leading the way, because Dale Bay has been the UK's first meadow scale restoration project. And that is also a good example of how it's not an easy win. It's been a long process. The first trials went down in Dale, I think in 2017. And then the first area of planting at scale, which was a 2-hectare area out in the bay, went in 2020, just before lockdown. Wow. And it's really only this past year that we feel like we can say it's a success. Okay. But we have, pulled funding and volunteered to continually go back and monitor and reinforce and support that, along with working with the local communities there. There's a brilliant engaged stakeholder group there now. I know local paddleboard companies take people out, kids out, school groups out to see the seagrass. It's a great example. It's there and it's starting to fill with life again. Oh, nice. Which is really exciting. It's also spreading on its own now without continued intervention. Yes, it is. And it's moving from the subtidal into the intertidal. And I think it's team get bored of me mentioning this example, but last time I went there, it was a very low tide and there were cuttlefish eggs attached to that intertidal seagrass. It's just like, it's visible, it's back and it's there and you can see it, and it's very exciting. So we've got those things and we'll continue to monitor and work there. And if someone wanted to get involved in any of these projects, the volunteer, how would they go about doing that? I think the best route is probably via our volunteer Facebook page, so everything's advertised there. So that's a good first point of call
What
to
would I
get in
type in?
touch. Project Seagrass.
Cool, great. I just need
Project Seagrass. And all the information is on there. Our website also is a useful resource. So again, just Google Project Seagrass.
I'll put it up on the screen. It'll come up. So last question, and then there's a lovely bonus last question. Go on.
Can I just add in terms of volunteering?
Yeah, please.
What also is very, very helpful to us is we have got an app called Seagrass Spotter. And one of the global challenges for seagrass is that it's poorly mapped across its range because it's near global range. And that's because it's widespread and patchy. But we've got an app where anyone can, you can download it and take your phone out and take a georeferenced photograph, or you can take photographs and upload them through the website later. But this is really, really helping us fill the gaps of where seagrass is and where seagrass isn't. And also you can see a map of where your nearest seagrass might be, or maybe there's seagrass there and it's not on the map. It'd be great for us to know that it is there and for us to have that on the map, or for people to revisit points that are already in there so we can look at the potential change. But that is a really, really key volunteering citizen science opportunity as well that exists, and it's real and it's genuinely useful because this is a real challenge for us.
I think people really want that attachment to do something real. People always talk about the Merlin Bird app right now because that's an attachment, so that's real. Like, I love it because I can go out and I can go, oh, I'm hearing this, it's this bird. This is another example of, you can go, this is the app, this is the thing. I'm tapping straight into it, and I'm having an impact straight away. So that's definitely another one for you at home. If you want to do something that's impactful, you're getting involved. And I think what's nice about Project Seagrass, it's so accessible in so many different ways. If you can't volunteer yourselves, you have the digital form, the citizen science. It's there for every age as well. So, and that's what's lovely about the project. So, and that brings me on to the last question. So, when you think 20 years ahead, what does a thriving Welsh green economy look like? Or we could say ecosystem, and how will young people feel the impact of the decisions being made today?
Gosh, I really hope that they feel positive impact of what we're trying to do today, because so far they've been let down, haven't they? Massively. But for me, I mean, 20 years is going to go fast. But it is that connected wholescape thinking where we have got work done and being done on the ground. We're bringing back all of those habitats that we need within a connected seascape and landscape. That revitalisation is happening throughout our rivers, from catchment to coast, the whole picture. But it would be lovely, if there are continued jobs in that space to monitor and make sure that we're doing the right things. And it's not going to be fixed in 20 years. There's still going to be a lot to do. So it would be great if those young people now are coming up and wanting to be part of that and having opportunities to be part of that, so that ultimately we can create something that is a functioning, biodiverse planet.
And I think it's you want to see the projects you're working on flourish. The green skills and because right now it feels like if you want to have these opportunities, you've either got to do a degree in it and then you end up being in a project and then you end up getting a job through it. But actually, what I'd love to see, and I'm sure you would too, is you can look at like Pencoed College. And there's a course you can study which gives you direct, it might be level 1 to begin with, but there's a path for anybody at 16 plus to be able to get into those sorts of green careers.
And I think those things are happening. There are examples of those sorts of courses now, which is great. And we have offered entry level positions within Project Seagrass that didn't require a degree. And it would be really nice for us to be able to do more of that, because there are skills out there and the enthusiasm out there. And
it's right, you're right. It's the passion and the enthusiasm. You can have a degree, but if you haven't got the enthusiasm, you're not going to be right for the job.
No, absolutely.
And I think no matter what you do in life, you've got to be passionate about it. And you can find the best person in the world, but they might not have a degree in it. So if there's a way of taking them through it, then great. Right, bonus question. I didn't prepare you for this one. Thank you. So. But it's a nice one. So who else in Wales is doing brilliant sustainability work that deserves to be showcased on GreenWales, and why? And I do this because I try to be as transparent as possible, and I go company to company via the last guest. So can you think of, it could be 1, it could be 3, project, company, charity that you'd recommend?
There is some great work happening at the moment on the River Ogmore. Our team have been involved volunteering with them. They've done a big cleanup, got rid of loads of tyres out, but they're increasingly pushing on that whole water quality piece and pushing to, get it acknowledged that this is a big problem. And that's what we need. People are starting to care more about water quality. People are caring about bathing waters. I think SAS, Surfacing and Sewage as well, do an amazing job on that front. There's also the case that's been raised with the Y. So all of this stuff that is feeding and building the sort of public resistance to poor water quality
awareness, isn't it?
Is incredibly powerful. And I think there are lots of great organisations now working in that space.
And I think we're all sort of learning that connectivity to the ocean, no matter where you are, even if you're in the Rhondda, where I am, this morning I was talking to my daughter because she was talking about London Bridge, and she was like, is the ocean, she's only 7, 8, bless her. She's like, is the ocean on one side and the trains on the other? I'm like, what are you on about, bless her? So I just said, no, I said, you have a babbling brook and then a stream and then a river, then an estuary, then the sea. And she was like, what? I was like, it's all connected, babe. I said, if you chuck something in the brook by us now, it'll be down Cardiff Bay because the Taff is our sort of, it connects to the Taff. So it'll be in Cardiff Bay in a few hours and then it'll be out at sea. And I said, this is why the actions that we all take individually, if you're in a high street, you smoke and you chuck it, you flick the fag out the window and it goes down the drain, it's only going one place. And it's how we act in our society and how we look after one another. And I think now, people are sort of really seeing that, not so much we're on our own, but the days of us being really well looked after are by the government and by projects are gone. And if we don't look after ourselves and what we have, and I was interviewing somebody called Adele Nozada, she's like a world famous forager up in Brecon a couple of weeks ago. And she talked about having a sacred patch. And wherever you live, that's your sacred patch. Because if you don't look after where you live, and I'm not saying look after the town, it's more your street, your gully. You've got to care for it and you've got to look after it. And I didn't realise, because I always try and do little bits where I live, but I was like, oh, actually, because when I moved where I lived, it's like, I want it to be nice. I want to come home and feel like I'm going somewhere nice. I don't want to go and be like, oh, there's 7 land tips or fly tips or whatever. If I see something, I'll report to the council immediately. There's things that I'll do because we're only on this planet for a short amount of time and I want to enjoy it. And if I can leave it in a better condition than the way I found it, and I think that's what this is what this project's doing here as well.
And that's what we all do. And, the example with the kids, my kids mostly can't walk past a piece of rubbish. Sometimes I'm like, no, we were doing something else. We can't pick it up now. I'm like, I'm so glad that's...
Yes.
And that came from my dad. So, not the older generations haven't all,
No, and it does vary. Some were done the mines. No, I'm way joking. But no, everybody has different experiences in life and it does influence you in different ways. And I think this is the important thing for like projects like this and everything through GreenWales as well, is that it's not just for the few, it's for everybody. And the more that we do that, I think the better. I've got a present for you. No, really nervous. No, we give everybody a little gift and this is going to be hopefully a really good thing. So, welcome to GreenWales. There's your little badge. Everybody who comes on becomes a member or part of the network of GreenWales. So what's going to happen now, you're going to be part of our collaboration station, which we send out every quarter. And we put everybody who's been on together in an email and we try and connect people together and make new opportunities happen. And we act as a connector. So you're now part of the GreenWales network.
Amazing. So, you know what, I've got one I can be a reciprocal badge holder, because the gift that on the sound check Joe was talking about was like a new set of badges. You can have
God.
Where you wear it with pride.
I'm going to get a badge, I'll put it on this one. And the only thing we've got left to do now is just wave to camera and say goodbye. So 1, 2, 3, bye.
Bye.